Hello, my name is Anllelis Ozuna and I'm going to talk about the history of language teaching. Kelly and Hartwell have been demonstrated that many current issues of language teaching are not particularly new. So today's controversies reflect the contemporary response to questions that has been asked often throughout the history of language teaching. It has been estimated that some 60% of today's world's population is multilingual, both contemporary and historical perspective. Bilingualism and multilingualism is the norm than the exception. It is fair then okay. It is fair then today. It is fair then to say that throughout the history, language teaching has been always been an important, particularly concern. So English is the world's widely studied foreign language, but 500 years ago it was Latin. Latin was the dominant language of education, government, religion, and commerce in the Western world. In the 16th century, however, French, English, and Italian gained. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, in the 16th century, however, French, Italian, and, and English gained an importance as a result of political change of Europe. Latin gradually became replaced as a spoken language and as a spoken and communication language. So, thanks so much. That's it.
So, hello everyone, I'm Luci de la Cruz, and I'm going to present you the grammar translation method. The grammar translation method was used in the beginning for teaching of English under the influence of Latin classical language like Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit. It is a method of foreign second language teaching which uses translation and grammar study as the main instructions and learning techniques. Some of its objectives are to be able to read literature, writing in the target language, to develop writing and reading skills, and to be able to translate from one language to another. So that said, this is my part, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, my name is Laura, and I'm going to talk about the guided method, which is a teaching method that was popular in the early 20th century and that emphasized the guided target language use, the oral communication skills, and the inductive grammar. It was based in the naturalistic ideas or the natural method, which was invented by L. Sauveur or promoted by him. And as any other method, it presented, it was good and it worked for a time till they found some flaws, such as the fact that the teachers should be fluent or natives, and that was not always possible, and that there was lack of basis in the linguistics, in the applied linguistic theory, and that it didn't work as good as it worked in the private language schools and in public secondary schools. Till here, my participant. Thank you very much.
Well, then I'm going to speak about also the history of language methodology and language teaching and language learning has existed for as long as humans have had the need. to communicate with other communities. Then with this, we created or we had a lot of major problems when it came to learning another language. Now, based on these issues, teachers have always uh, found, well, they have always tried to find the solutions for them. And then the solutions that we are trying to apply today to language teaching and the methodologies that we try to get in order to improve ourselves in that area, they are not new to us now, but they have existed since teaching a language to to another person began. Then in the 1500s, more or less, when Latin was a very popular language to study, people found out that because of the way Latin was created and because of the way the Latin language was conjugated and all the inflections that it had, then people focused a lot on the grammar because all the words, all the nouns and verbs and pronouns in Latin, they had to agree. So because of that, people focused heavily into grammar and translation studies. Then something that happened with that was that as time passed and other languages became more popular, such as Romance languages, they are we could say here that they are French, they are Italian, and also Spanish. Then when people started studying those languages and then Latin started to decrease because it started to fade, then people found out that they could not continue with the same methodology that they were studying Latin because these languages didn't have the same grammatical rules and the same grammatical needs. Then later on, when people started implementing other ways to do it, then they arrived to what people say, uh, well, they call the method that they were using for teaching the other languages the grammar translation method. I'm finished here.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Good. Okay. Hello, my name is Elisa. I'm going to say about grammar translation method. The grammar translation method is teaching for a second language. Start with writing and reading. The grammar translation method was used in the 20th century in Europe for teaching Latin and Greek. But originally, the grammar translation method was created for help the student to translate a passage of their literature and write it. In this method, we can find technique, the role of the teacher, and for that reason, we can find advantage and disadvantage. The advantage we have is easier for the teacher use. Um, the student can learn a second language without contacts with native speaker, and the student only use textbook. And the disadvantage, you need to have many memorization, and the contact between teacher, student, and student is very little. The contact is very little. Also, we have technique. For example, we have filling in the blank. We have translation passage of literature. We have main sentence and answer exercise. We have the reading, we have writing, we have reading comprehension, and another. Um, the role of the teacher in this method is like, I think it's like authority because he only provides the student the language knowledge and correct the mistake made by the student. The purpose of this method is that the student appreciate, learn, and I say I love it, the literature. This is the point. You need to translate passage or literature and write it. That's it.
Well, hello, my name is Ramona. Another method in the English language teaching field is the direct method. The direct method is based on the idea of language immersion, encouraging the students to to use the target language inside the classroom all the time without relying on the mother tongue to translate or understanding the lesson, because here the teacher is trying to let the students to learn the target language in the same way they learn the mother tongue. The direct method was born at the end of the 19th century, and it was the result from the movement from the reformers movement. Francois Goering was one of the first reformers in build this method that was used originally to teaching all languages like Greek and Latin. The direct method was created for with a attempt to overcome the weakness of the grammar translation method. The direct method is also known as natural method because it tried to imitate the children's language learning. Um, One of the techniques that you can use for applying the direct method inside the classroom is using the realia or drawing. This means you need to bring real objects to the classroom. So, for example, if you want to teach the word apple to your students, you need you are not supposed to translate the word, because in the direct method the teacher is not supposed to translate or explain. He needs to demonstrate the lesson. So if you want to teach the word apple, you need to bring a real apple to the classroom, or draw an apple on the blackboard for the students can see and they will be able to get the meaning. And that's it.